Welcome in the Geopolitical Situation Room. Today is the 1st of March 2020. Turkey has launched the so-called Operation Peace Shield in the province of Idlib in Syria. What is going on? Well, let's have a look. This is Turkey, of course, Bulgaria, Greece, and this is the neighboring country, Syria. As you know, in Syria there's a civil war going on, which has become a regional war with international entanglements since 2011. And there is now a high battle going on in the province of Idlib. If you look at it from a more detailed point of view, and in a minute we'll go and have a look at this map more online. Our source is Syria Live Map. Then you will see that actually the troops of Assad in the south have been consolidating. They are winning, so Assad is actually winning, and he is encircling the province of Idlib. Now in Idlib, not only the population lives, but also 1 million of refugees coming from different cities from the past years of the war, Aleppo, Daraa, Homs, and many other cities, as you know. They've fled to Idlib, but at the same time, as a result of these wars going on in these different cities, now 20,000 so-called terrorists, they are called terrorists by Assad and the Russian Federation. They are mostly Sunni, but very radical groups, and they now reside about 20,000 in Idlib. So this is a very tricky situation over here. And at the border with the Turkish region of Hatay, there are also 1 million of refugees, mostly Sunni refugees. Now, the Russian Federation is, of course, supporting the Assad troops. And in the last 20 days, Assad has gained quite a lot of territory in the south of Idlib, but also in the very strategic region over here, west of Aleppo, especially the M5 highway. But at the same time, since the end of 2018, in an agreement with the Russian Federation, Turkey is present in Idlib. It has about 12 observation posts in Idlib around this region. And this was part of the Sochi agreement, stating that around this region this should be a buffer zone, there shouldn't be no military activities, and also the Russian Federation would make sure that there would be no military activities. That has not happened, of course. Now Turkey is working together with what we today call the so-called pro-Turkic troops, which are often, quite radical troops that are there already for many years, but they now get support from Turkey. At the same time, quite controversially, the remaining Sunni radicals are Tahrir Hayat al-Sham, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham are they called, and these are very radical groups indeed. So they now work more or less together. Now, if you look at the strategic situation, there's over here the M5 highway, and then over here is the M4 highway over there, and then over there is the M5 highway. They cross at a very important location, and let's have a look at that particular location. This is the Syria Live Map, as you see. The city where they intersect is the city of Sarakib. Now, 20 days ago, first Assad had consolidated more or less that region and had consolidated the whole territory of the M5 highway. But the pro-Turkic groups, supported also with Turkish soldiers, among which several died, have taken this region again, where the M5 and the M4 intersect. So this is a very strategic region, as you see over here. Meanwhile, extremely tricky, the Russians are bombing. So we are now having almost direct contact between the Russian troops and the Turkish troops. The Russians have said that they did not know Turkish official troops were present in Sarakip and in other regions. Now, what you also see is the map is very active. As you see, in the north, the Turkish troops are now shelling the region of Aleppo. They are shelling the airport, which is knocked out of service, and also there are shelling and missiles have landed on locations where we know that Assad also has defense factories. Meanwhile, in the south, there are also activities, and we know that rebels have retaken some of these villages. Now, we do, of course, not know what the actual, the actual wishes of Turkey are. What does Turkey want? Well, if we look more to the situation again, the M5 highway, one could say that Turkey indeed, as you see, they are opening up this corridor to the south, cleansing it from Assad forces, and the M5 highway is a designated location where probably the Turkic troops, together with the pro-Turkic rebels, will cleanse this whole region so as to create a so-called safe zone for the 1 million refugees. Turkey is, of course, also asking for support from NATO, but it is again quite tricky because of several situations. Of course, what does Turkey want? To knock out the Assad Air Force, to frustrate the Assad supply lines, to create a buffer zone, as to create a safe haven, as already said, and of course, perhaps Turkey just wants to stay in the region. It wants to stay perhaps because it wants a political and economic zone of influence. Much depends on these two gentlemen. They will meet each other apparently next week. Will the Russians tolerate what the Turkish are now doing? At the same time, we are watching another crisis, most notably here and over here, but also over here, where in the latest reports, and this is a report from The Guardian, that has said that Erdogan has said, well, the gates are open, the 3.6 or 3.9 million refugees from the Syrian war can now go to Europe. So apparently this is almost a kind of intimidation of Erdogan vis-à-vis the European countries, because he knows that, of course, the European countries are quite wary of another wave of refugees, as we've seen in 2015, 2016, and it almost seems that he is using this as a tool to make sure that European countries follow his line. Surely we will follow up this in the coming days, and if there are new developments, we will let you know and we'll make a new video. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.